In the last few days, a scandal erupted in China that gripped the nation, exposing not just a tale of betrayal, but a crisis shaking the heart of its medical system. This is the story of Dr. Xiao Fei, a celebrated surgeon at Beijing's prestigious China-Japan Friendship Hospital, whose personal failings unraveled a web of privilege, power, and broken trust. Public opinion has become so strong that it has now become the most closely watched topic on China's internet, and it is really all over the screen. It's a saga that asks, what happens when the guardians of life betray the values they swear to uphold? The story begins with a seemingly perfect couple, Dr. Xiao Fei and Dr. Gu Xiaya, both PhD holders and rising stars in China's medical elite. Xiao, a thoracic surgeon, and Gu, an ophthalmologist and youth committee member of the Beijing Medical Association, were the epitome of professional success. But beneath the surface, their marriage was crumbling. In July 2024, Gu took to the internet with a 2,000-word open letter accusing Xiao of serial infidelity. What started as a personal grievance soon exploded into a national controversy, revealing far more than a broken vow. Rewind to 2019. Gu discovered Zhao's first affair with Shi Yuhui, a married nurse in his department. This wasn't a fleeting fling. Shi became pregnant twice, suffering miscarriages both times. Xiao even introduced her to his parents, a brazen act for a man still married to Gu. After heated confrontations, Xiao penned a handwritten promise to end the affair. Gu, thinking of their young child, chose forgiveness, hoping to salvage their family. But the wounds never fully healed, and Shi's provocations kept the pain alive. Gu's decision to go public in 2024 wasn't just about airing dirty laundry. It was a cry for justice, backed by a damning PDF filled with evidence, chat logs, photos, and Zhao's own admissions. The internet erupted. But as netizens dug deeper, they realized this wasn't just a soap opera. It was a window into a much darker issue, a medical system riddled with ethical failures and unchecked privilege. By 2024, Xiao had moved on from Shi Yuhui, but not from his ways. Enter Dong Xieying, a young resident physician training in urology at the Cancer Hospital of the Chinese Academy of Medical Sciences. Unlike Shi, Dong wasn't just another colleague. She came from a world of wealth and influence. Her father, a top executive at a state-owned enterprises research institute, and her mother, a vice dean at a prominent university, gave her a gilded upbringing. Rumors swirled of an academician grandfather and a professor uncle, painting a picture of a family with deep ties to China's elite. Dong's journey to medicine was anything but ordinary. She started with an economics degree from Barnard College, after studying at a U.S. community college, according to popular speculation, because the alumni of Barnard College don't seem to know her. Yet, in a few short years, she transformed into a medical doctor, graduating from Peking Union Medical College, PUMC, China's equivalent of Harvard Medical School, through its exclusive 4+4 program. This fast-track path allowed her to earn a medical doctorate in just 4 years, bypassing the grueling 11-year journey most Chinese medical students endure. To understand why this matters, let's break down China's medical education system. Unlike the U.S., where a 4-year undergraduate degree plus 4 years of medical school suffice, China's path is longer and more rigorous. A typical medical student faces 5 years of undergraduate study, 3 years for a master's, and 3 to 4 years for a doctorate, followed by 2 to 3 years of residency training. That's at least 11 years, often more. Even then, landing a job at a top-tier hospital like China-Japan Friendship requires a doctorate and fierce competition. Dong's 4+4 shortcut, starting with no medical background, raised eyebrows. How did someone with an economics degree leap into Punk's hallowed halls? The answer lies in her family's influence. With parents wielding power in academia and industry, Dong had access to opportunities most could only dream of. Her ascent didn't stop at graduation. She landed a coveted residency and, astonishingly, co-authored a bladder cancer treatment guideline as a first author, a role typically reserved for seasoned experts. For many, this was proof of privilege trumping merit. The plot thickened on July 5, 2024, during a surgery where Xiao and Dong were working together. When a nurse, Wang Feng, criticized Dong's technique, Xiao didn't mediate, he lashed out, berating Wang in front of the team. Then, in a jaw-dropping breach of protocol, Xiao and Dong left the operating room for 40 minutes, abandoning an anesthetized patient. This wasn't just unprofessional, it was a betrayal of the patient's life or death trust. Xiao later claimed he stepped out to avoid further conflict and regain composure, insisting his private life didn't affect his medical ethics. The public wasn't convinced. A Southern Weekly commentator wrote, "Leaving an anesthetized patient alone in the OR isn't a private matter, it's reckless endangerment. Where is the compassion of a healer?" The incident crystallized the stakes. A doctor's personal failings could have deadly consequences. China-Japan Friendship Hospital acted swiftly, suspending Xiao and launching an investigation. The decisive response earned praise, but it couldn't quell the growing outrage. Netizens demanded answers. How could a surgeon abandon a patient? Was Dong's residency secured through proper channels? And was Punk's 4+4 program a meritocratic path or a backdoor for the elite? The Xiao Fei scandal struck a nerve because it exposed two raw wounds in Chinese society: the erosion of medical ethics and the betrayal of meritocracy. Medicine, revered as a field of rigor and compassion, demands trust. Yet, Zhao's actions, prioritizing personal drama over a patient's life, shattered that trust. Dong's meteoric rise, meanwhile, challenged the belief that hard work guarantees success. Chinese social media lit up with comparisons. Dr. Yang Yang, a physician at Shanghai's first maternity and infant hospital, shared his journey: 5 years of undergraduate study, 3 years for a master's, 3 years for a German doctorate, and 2 years of residency. 13 years of grind to earn his place. Dong Xiang, he noted, went from an economics degree in 2019 to a medical doctorate and a guideline authorship by 2024. How? He pointed out that China's medical licensing rules are strict. Fields like pharmacy or nursing don't qualify for clinical medicine exams, let alone economics. Dr. Su Chao, a prominent science communicator, weighed in on Dong's guideline authorship. Bladder cancer guidelines are for experts, he said. A junior resident as first author? That's unheard of. The implication was clear. Dong's name on that document wasn't earned through expertise, but through connections. The 4+4 program itself came under fire. Dr. Xing Weizhen, a PUMC graduate, clarified that the program allows non-medical undergraduates to apply, so Dong's economics background wasn't technically a barrier. But her mid-program switch from internal medicine to orthopedics, a rare and difficult pivot, suggested flexibility that ordinary students rarely enjoy. For many, this confirmed that wealth and influence could bend even the most sacred institutions. In China, education is the great equalizer, a ladder for the poor to climb through sheer effort. The Gaokao, China's brutal college entrance exam, is a rite of passage where millions compete for limited spots. Medicine, with its long training and high stakes, is the ultimate test of grit. Yet, Dong's story revealed a parallel path for the privileged, a green channel bypassing the grind. Her trajectory wasn't unique. Netizens unearthed other cases: a golden boy admitted to PUMC with arts-related bonus points, and others who seemed to glide into elite programs through family ties. These weren't just outliers. They were symptoms of a system where wealth and connections could trump talent. For every Dong Xiang, there was a Chen Ruyue, a true academic star who couldn't secure a 4+4 spot and had to retake the Gaokao to chase her medical dream. This struck a deep chord. In the 2000s, 70% of medical students came from modest backgrounds, many from rural areas. Hard work opened doors to top hospitals, government posts, or corporate jobs. Today, those doors are closing. Even internships at elite firms now require insider connections, leaving first-generation students, those without wealth or networks, at a disadvantage. The revelations about PUMC, China's medical mecca, were particularly galling. If the nation's top institution could be swayed by privilege, what hope was there for fairness elsewhere? Dong's 28-page doctoral dissertation, mentored by a revered academician, became a symbol of eroded standards. Academicians, treated like royalty in China, are expected to uphold integrity. When they endorse questionable work, the system's sanctity crumbles. Hospitals, too, faced scrutiny. Supposedly bastions of discipline, they allowed a surgeon to abandon a patient without immediate consequences. Had Gu not spoken out, Zhao's actions might have stayed buried. This wasn't just one man's failure, it was a systemic lapse. The Xiao Fei scandal dominated Chinese media, outpacing even trade wars or tariffs. Why? Because it challenged a core belief that effort and talent should triumph over birthright. In a nation where the Gaokao is a sacred equalizer, stories like Dong's felt like a betrayal. They weren't just about one woman. They represented a class of golden children who, through family wealth or savvy navigation of loopholes, leapfrogged the system. These loopholes aren't new. Beyond the 4+4 program, China's elite access special admissions, targeted training, or international exchange programs, paths often invisible to rural or working-class families. Even domestic routes, like joint degree programs or relaxed exam standards, offer shortcuts. Once admitted, these students are often insulated from failure, their degrees a guaranteed ticket to prestige. The outrage wasn't just about envy, it was about justice. When the privileged bypass the grind, they don't just win, they diminish the struggles of those who play by the rules. For China's youth, who study relentlessly to escape poverty, this was a gut punch. If medicine, the most meritocratic of fields, could be gamed, what was left to believe in? The Xiao Fei scandal isn't just a cautionary tale, it's a wake-up call. Medicine thrives on trust, built through compassion, confidence, and fairness. Zhao's betrayal and Dong's privilege eroded that trust, but they also sparked a reckoning. China-Japan Friendship Hospital's swift response was a start, but rebuilding faith requires more. Hospitals must enforce stricter oversight, ensuring no patient is ever abandoned. PUMC and similar institutions must transparentize admissions, proving that merit, not money, opens doors. And the medical community must recommit to ethics, placing patients above personal gain. China's people are watching. They want a system where a rural kid with a dream can outshine a tycoon's heir through effort alone. The scandal has faded from headlines, but its lessons linger. Fairness isn't just a value, it's the foundation of a society that dares to hope. As the sun rises over Beijing's hospitals, the question remains, will China's medical system reclaim its honor, or will privilege continue to cast a shadow? The answer lies in the choices we make next. This is more than a scandal, it's a mirror. And what we see demands change. It doesn't matter who she is, who her grandfather is, or how things will end. What matters is that the reason why public opinion is so strong is that the contradictions in resource allocation and class confrontation have been triggered, and no one is willing to believe the official statement. What the public is willing to believe is more important than facts.